We're again talking about words of the Master. And the Master, of course, is Jesus Christ. And we also are into a several part of our third part series. This is 003, and this is 1.2 of that subject, fulfilling our secret prayers. And our secret prayers are many. Our secret prayers are to, 1, be like God. 2, allow God to change or transform us. And 3, we want God to hear our prayers. Part of our message is, we know, and we'll begin with our stick man here. We give him a little smiley face. And when Jesus was on earth, he always would call himself the Son of God. He also made a point of calling himself the Son of Man. This is very important because he was trying to let us know, he was trying to help us to go beyond our being, beyond the kind of life that we were presently living, to the unknown. And his whole message was how to go beyond who we are as human beings, who we are as men, women, who we are as people. And he knew that we were in somewhat of a pickle or disease, as we call it. He was D-I-S-E-A-S-E. And because we are uneasy about life, there is great tension. There's great anxiety. There's also constant conflict. And there's always fighting going on. And a lot of that goes on within us as we struggle to be like God. And Jesus knew about that tension. He knew that this struggle, this tension, this anxiety, this disease, this uneasiness, this constant conflict, and this fighting was not something that was going to go away on its own. So, because of that, this is what I call, these were like realities of being a human being. And Jesus himself knew that we needed to overcome these realities as we struggle to break out of this human shell. And he wanted to show us how to move from becoming from a man, a son of man, a son of humanity, to realizing our sonship in God. And of course, this required a certain what I call a higher consciousness. This higher consciousness CONSCIOUSNESS, is very important as we move on a continuum of life and we experience the low and the highs of life. The whole challenge has been, how do we surpass ourselves? We said it in the last lesson, or oneself. How to surpass oneself. How to move from a lower consciousness. How to move from a lower consciousness to a higher consciousness. And that's the whole challenge, how to become conscious, which is a higher consciousness, from a state of unconsciousness. And that's one of the biggest challenges that the human mind has to face. And so we began to know that the human being even though he fakes being happy, there's really no peace. There's sort of a dis-ease, E-A-S-E. And at the body level, we struggle. And because we struggle, we're not, as I said, we're full of conflict. And because we're full of this conflict, we are not able to experience the good that God is all the time. At some particular point, we need to move into a more permanent state of happiness and become full of light, the light of our Lord and Savior. This light, this halo, has to become part of who we are in God and who God is in us. Once this is becoming what I call Christ-like, and becoming our souls then are at peace. And this is the higher consciousness that we all want to move toward in our life. We'll talk more about that in our next lesson.